So last week we announced a new segment on Valuetainment called PBD Real Talk, and we're starting it today. We got hundreds of questions, and I have my co-host with me, Mario Aguilar. You guys have seen him in a few videos before, but today he'll be reading some of the questions that they've chosen in this episode. So these are some questions we got on Twitter, so lead the way with Twitter questions.
So first off, we got Loser to Lambo, and he asked, Patrick, how did you keep working hard on days you felt lazy?
Loser to Lambo's a name?
Loser to Lambo.
So, okay. Maybe you got to change your name, but I get a Loser to Lambo. So give me the question one more time.
He says, how did you keep working hard on days you felt lazy?
How did you work hard on the days you felt lazy? You know, I think sometimes people get into business thinking every day you're going to feel like going to work. I think sometimes people get married thinking you're going to feel like being married every day. There are days I don't feel like being a parent. There are days I don't feel like being a CEO. It's very easy to be a CEO when you make $1 million in a day. That's easy to be a CEO. It's very easy to be a parent when your kid says from stage, my daddy's my hero. That's very easy. It's very easy to, go to the gym when you've eaten perfect nutrition, 8 hours of sleep, 7 hours of sleep, and you feel like you had great breakfast and you're lit up. You feel good on that when you get your pump. The people that win in every aspect of their lives, they show up on the days that they don't feel like it. And by the way, that's the test too that we're going to find out about you. Loser to Lambo. Whether you're going to show up on the days you feel like it or not, that's truly your tryout to the big leagues. If you can make it on those days, you're going to make it in the big leagues. Good question. Next one.
Yeah, we have Nico Vargas. We got a video from Nico.
PBD, real talk. If I am a startup and I'm looking to promote a service to a large corporation like a car dealership, how can I approach them with a small resume compared to, a larger corporation type of resume? Like I'm looking to do a car video for them, a marketing type of promotional 60-second video. So what's the best way to approach them?
I think that's a very good question, Nico. I would tell you one of the first things I would do if I'm newer competing with the bigger guys, right? So no one knows who. I'll tell you how I'm sold. A lot of times how I'm sold where people want to get my business. I'll have a person come up to me and they'll say, let me try to see how I can help your social media. Let me try to see how I can help you out with the marketing side. Let me try to see how I can help you with a video. We had a guy the other day that says, I want to be your 24/7 vlogger. I want to follow you everywhere for the rest of your life and want to do this. And he's what? He's from Jersey or New York, right?
Yep.
And I said, no problem. Here's what I told him. I said, tell me what you can do and show me what you can produce for free. So he came back within 24 hours. He shot me something for free to see exactly what his work was. Then I said, I'm impressed. I had Mario getting on a call with him. They're talking. Now he's flying in and we're going to have him do a couple videos for us. Then he's going to fly in to do a day of vlog with us to see how he is. And then we'll make a decision whether we'll want him or not. But the point is, you got to give your service up for free to 5 to 10. So if I'm doing video and I'm you, I'll make a list of all the dealerships locally to me. You're out of, I saw Hawaii. So let's just say you're in Hawaii. On the big island, there's not that many dealerships, but there's still 4 million people living on that island. I think it's 3 to 4 million people, so there's got to be dealerships. I would make a list of all the dealerships, and I would go to them and ask them, if I make you this video, promo video, I want to earn your business, but before I do, would you be open to me, if you like my quality of business that I create, would you be open to me continuing forward doing video marketing for you, whatever it is? Yes, great. What would you like to see in the video? Phenomenal. When would you like to see it? I'll get it to you by the end of the week. I'll get it to you by next week. Excellent. Are you the decision maker? Yes. Then I'd get it to them. Then once I get it to them, I'd make an incredible product because 1 is communication and sales, 2 is delivery on product. Once you do that, out of your 10 dealerships you go with, 3 of them are going to pick you up. It's the number, 10-3-1. They're going to pick you up. And then from there, based on the work you do with the 3, then you go to the other ones and see who else likes you. Then if you get 2 clients, 3 clients that are willing to pay you $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month, you're making $10,000 a month. And it's literally not that hard to do nowadays because so many dealerships would love to get somebody who knows how to do this. That'd be my answer to him.
Something tells me we're going to get a lot of videos coming in from a lot of people.
Well, I'm sure people are going to be asking questions about that.
Next question. Michael Carthy asks, what's the benefit of bootstrapping versus venture capital?
That's a great question. Bootstrapping versus venture capital. Let me give you the answer on that one. Okay. So for me, I started the company with 100% my own financing. PHP is 100% my own financing. When I started the company, I stayed liquid for a long time. When I say liquid, I was a saver obsessed with money. I didn't buy a house. I was living in a community. You probably came to my apartment one time. Drive-bys. There's cameras everywhere because it was, not the best, safest community to be in. It was a bad part of Granada Hills. And you came one time. You ran into some interesting pictures of mine from the past, which was a special.
I probably won't help you move ever again.
Yeah. So he saw some interesting.
A lot of stuff in the closet.
Right. I realized I did not want to start my business by raising money. And here's what I didn't want to raise money at that time. One, I didn't fully need it up front. Two, I was very crystal clear on what I wanted to do with the industry myself. And three, for me, a lot of people came and said, Pat, I'll give you $100,000, I'll give you $200,000, I'll give you $500,000. I did not need it at that time. I didn't want to go into debt at all whatsoever. I wanted my back to be against the wall so I would make it work no matter what. And this isn't for everybody. A lot of people would rather take risks with other people's money. I wanted to go all in for one reason. Let me tell you why. Everybody that I asked to go with me and work with me, I gave them. I'll never forget. You were part of that meeting. It was September 23rd. It was a Wednesday night.
Yep.
The night before, we had a meeting till 4 o'clock in the morning at Lulu's. From Lulu's, we came to the office.
Yep.
And I told them at the meeting there, I said, there's a 90% chance we will be out of business within 6 months.
Yep.
90%. My wife is in the back. We had just gotten married 3 months prior to that. And she's looking at me like, she's going like, what are you doing? I said, there's a 90% chance we'll be out of business within 90 days, 3 to 6 months. But I said, I want you to know what you're getting with me, okay? I'm going all in with my savings, with my credit score, with everything that I've sacrificed my entire life. If this doesn't work, I'm losing everything. So I'm all in. My chips are all in. So if you follow me and you believe in me, know that I'm all in. I don't have a plan B or plan C's. So that was a choice that I had to make at that time. Now there are some businesses that I'll give you a completely different answer. And the other business for me would be where it makes sense to go raise money and go with a VC. And the reason for that is because of who's coming in and partnering up with me. So what are they going to bring to the table with me with what I'm doing with that business? Somebody may come in and say, I'll give you $500,000 and I want 30% of this company, but I'm going to introduce you to XYZ and we can create a strategic partnership that benefits this. I'll entertain that. So I've done both, and I'm here to tell you both works. It just depends on your positioning and where you're at. Good question. What was the name? Mike?
Yeah, that was Michael Carthy.
Michael Carthy. I like this. So far, that's one of the top questions. I like that.
Joe_Ethier says, what's your opinion on the next crash? When is a perfect time to buy a property to rent it?
When is the perfect time to buy a property, or when is the perfect time to buy a property to rent it? To rent it. So he's talking about when to rent it.
Correct.
So look, anybody who you talk to, even Buffett, he'll tell you, he loves crisis, but he prepares for crisis. So they have money set aside for crisis, because when crisis happens, everything's on sale. That's when you have an opportunity to become wealthy. I remember one time I bought this baseball card, a $100,000 baseball card from a guy that I only paid $13,000 for, because he needed money to make his 2 mortgage payments. So I paid him 13 grand cash. He didn't have it. It was a mortgage crisis time. I ended up flipping the card. I made a lot of money on this card, but I wasn't desperate because I was liquid. But renting is a different story. If you're buying a house to rent, you don't care about a crisis. You do, but you don't necessarily care about a crisis. You just want to make sure you're in a middle America community that's always going to need renting property. There's always a demand to rent a property. And even if a bad thing happens, like a mortgage crisis that happened, rent may need to drop off 20%, that you'll need to work with your tenants for 3, 4, 5, 6 months. But it's not a permanent thing. So if you're renting properties out, you're buying properties to rent them out, and it's a 10, 20, 30-year play, I wouldn't be too concerned about the next crash. It is going to happen. We're going to have another crash in the next 5 to 10 years, and I hope all of you guys are prepared for it. Lots of opportunity every time there's a major crash.
Next question. Jesper Riotbergen, I hope I said that right, says, what is the most opportune country for startup entrepreneurs?
What is the most opportune country for startup entrepreneurs? I mean, look, everybody keeps asking me to do a video on capitalism. Pat, can you do a video on capitalism the way you break down some of these other things? It'll come out soon, but it's not going to be a 10-minute video. It's probably going to be another hour video that we'll do. The way I judge a great country is by the product it produces. What is the product? So if we, for instance, if we want to judge a country based on great fighter pilots. If you want to judge a country based on who produced the best fighter pilots, Israel is known as having the best fighter pilots in the world, by far. Israel is known for that, right? A lot of soldiers from U.S. go there to be trained there, and then they come back to America because Israel is known for that, okay? Now, if you want to be known for, hey, what part of America produces the best boxers? For instance, what has the best training camps? Some may say Vegas because fights are there, so now they're creating camps in Vegas. What about MMA? Some may say Orange County or some parts of LA. What if you say basketball? Some people may say, New York, or they may say LA. How about football? Maybe Texas. The way you judge a great country is by what type of entrepreneurs they produce. And there's only one country that's dominating the world in entrepreneurship, and that's US. So if your country you're listening right now is communistic and you can't see it changing to capitalism anytime soon, you need to find a way to a capitalistic country, ASAP. If you're a socialistic country and it's 60, 70%, I'm talking like France and Spain and some of those countries that taxes are way, way too high, where the motivation and the incentive to go make money is so low, you got to find a country to go to that believes in capitalism. Germany right now is one of the top countries in the world in capitalism. Obviously, US is at the top. You got to study this because this changes. But, I'll give you a completely different way of looking at it. Arthur Laffer once did a study. At what point does motivation go away for people based on what amount of their money they pay to taxes? So hear me out. I make $100. At what point do I lose my motivation to work harder on the $100 that I'm paying to taxes? Is it 10%, 20%, 30%, 40, 50, 60? What is it, right? Because some will argue and say, people will pay as much taxes as possible, and some will say it's got to be zero. Obviously, it can't be zero. Why can't it not be zero? We need roads. We need a lot of different programs. So we need cops. We have to have that. We need taxes to collect for that. And he came up with roughly 33, 34%, meaning the moment Mario makes $100,000 a year and he pays a penny over $34,000 per year, his motivation to work hard to get to $200,000 officially starts going down. So if Mario makes $100,000 a year and he only pays 20% in taxes, that's $20,000, guess what? His motivation to produce goes higher. Now Mario's got a wife and kids, and he's got to make sure they're safe and all this other stuff. So the country he's living in, he's got to make sure the country's got security, safety, military, cops, firefighters, all those things, solid roads. So there's a balance, but 33%. So you got to study your country and find out what tax rate you're at, and then from there make a decision if you want to be there long term or not. But good question.
Unexpected Tuck says, do you have any good advice on
Unexpected what?
Unexpected Tuck.
But I think his name is Tucker. So
Tucker.
Don't get dirty minds, Unexpected Tuck, because that's like a porn name right there. Go ahead, though.
He says, do you have any good advice on buying a new car?
Followed by what? Defeating the what?
Defeating the salesman, I think meant salesman in the room.
Okay, so do you have any good advice on buying a new car? Yes, I do. Now, when? When you have money or when you don't have money? When you have money, it doesn't matter, but you want to stay as tight as possible. When I was first coming up, I told myself I am not going to buy a new car until I had $250,000 in a bank account. Now, that's me. So I drove a Ford Focus for 4 years, okay, while I had $250,000 in the bank. Once I reached my goal, I bought myself an S600, and the S600 I bought was was the newest body, oldest year. For instance, if an S500, S550 has been the same body for 5 years, I would buy a 2012 S500 with low miles, but it's the same body as today. No one knows the difference. So most recent body, oldest year. You save yourself 50% of the car, sometimes 60% of the car, okay, as long as miles are low. I bought my Chevy Z06 Corvette, yellow one I bought. I bought an 06 with 13,000 miles on it, okay? And it was a brand newest body, but I bought it in 09, 08, 09, June 26 is when I bought it because it was delivered on my wedding day. But I bought an 06. It saved me a ton of money. I sold the car, and once I sold the Corvette Z06, my car payment ended up being only $200 a month when you do the math. So I kept the car for 2.5 years. I put a ton of miles on it. My Z06 payment ended up being $200 a month. Okay, now, car salesman. I don't like dealing with car salesmen, although I got to give some love to Volume. And this last guy, Walya. We got to give him some love. Walya at Mercedes-Benz dealership. I was very impressed with him. We bought the car from him just because of him. I was not planning on buying a car from a car salesman, but I liked him because of him. Most of the time, I don't like going to dealerships. Some people do. I don't like going to dealerships. My guy, Barrett, delivers all my car for me. Barrett, I bought cars from Barrett. Yes. I probably bought 10 cars from this guy. He delivers all my cars for me. There's car brokers nowadays. They'll negotiate on your behalf. They'll give you better rates than the dealership, and they'll deliver it for you, and typically have 2 or 3 brokers and price them out so one can't just hustle you for an additional $500. They'll get the best deal for you. But that would be my advice to you.
Next question. Claude L. Massey says, can you please get real and go over how I should handle my fear of cold calling to promote my business?
Cold call, like afraid of making cold calls?
Yeah.
Cold calls. Well, you know, the thing with cold calls is breaking the ice. If you know how to break the ice and you don't sound like a salesman, it'll work. But that also works with Facebook messaging. Some people try to sell by sending a message to us. If you sound scripted, people can tell. If it's email marketing, people can tell. If it's Twitter, if it's Snapchat, if it's so many different, people can tell nowadays. The less you're scripted and you have a way to break the ice, you open up my mind to wanting to hear you out. I gotta like you, and I gotta be open to wanting to hear what you have to pitch. But no matter how incredible you are at breaking the ice, you gotta know your percentage you're dealing with is very small. Let me break it to you in a way that's simple. If I want to sell a product, Mario is my best man at my wedding, okay? If I go to Mario and say, hey, Mario, I'm doing real estate. Mm-hmm. Let me sell your house for you. Oh, no problem, bro. You're my boy. Great. Easy sale. Okay, so percentage to Mario is going to be higher. It's not 100%, but it's higher. Mario, I say, Mario, who do you know that wants to sell a house? Mario's best friend in the world is Paul. The chances of me selling Paul is high, but not as high as his. Now, I run into Salvatore at the market, and I say, Salvatore, I'm a real estate agent. I'd like to sell this. He sees my face. I have an opportunity to make eye contact and see if he trusts me or not, and I'm firm. Great, chances a little lower than Paul, even lower than Mario. Cold, it's as if you're shooting half-court shots. So this is a basic layup. That's a free throw. He's a three-pointer. Cold is a half-court shot. So if you go to half-court shot and you're just getting started, you kind of have to do that. You got to do it. But just know the ratios are much lower. But what it will do to you, the 2 years that I did cold calling, my skin got so thick that I couldn't feel anything when people rejected me. It just got so much easier. So it's the best training you can do, boot camp to do to get get your skin thicker so you're not worried about rejection.
Next question is from Sushianet MRD or Sushi7551. Is it wise to share our next move or visions with others? If not, why?
Sure, but with people you trust, not with everybody. And then if you're going with somebody who is strange and they know the right people, maybe keep it brief, but don't go too deep into it. Nowadays, everybody wants to sign an NDA, but nowadays NDAs mean nothing like they used to. NCAs, NDAs, all that stuff is not what it used to be. But I would tell you with people you trust, and then if it's people you don't know, start very slowly, not all of a sudden into it. Start like if there's 5 things you want to share where I know everything about your vision, only give me one of them. Then go 2, second meeting, 3, 4, 5, once you see that you can trust this person. Because they need to know the whole thing to be able to go and run with the idea. Right now we're dealing with an idea we're working on that we met with multiple mobile app developers. These are guys that develop Skype and all these other companies. When we speak with them, we start slow. Second conversation, a little bit more. Third, we had one that I just didn't feel comfortable after the first meeting. There's not a second meeting. And by the way, that's the part, the video that we did, 8 things you can't learn from reading books?
Yep.
Intuition. Intuition is experience. That takes a while to get. It's not overnight.
Kamalo asks, did you deal with any racial attacks, trusting issues in business because you are Middle Eastern in the USA?
Of course I did. I dealt with that in the military when I was the only guy from Iran, and they would call me terrorist all the time. Honestly, it was a joke. All that you're from Iran, are you a spy? Look at him. You know, he's this. So many of those things I had to deal with in the military. And then when I got out, I dealt with that in Germany. When I lived at the refugee camp, lots of discrimination at Germany at the refugee camp. And then when I got out, I experienced it in high school. I experienced it in business. When I got into the insurance and the financial industry, when 9/11 happened, okay? And I'm in the financial industry. And I'm going to people's homes and they ask me, where are you from? I'm from Iran. I'm sorry, we don't want to do business with you. And I noticed at first it was hurting me because I believed it was the case, but eventually I realized blood is red no matter where you go. This is red. I don't care if you're white, black, Hispanic, Asian, Middle Eastern, whatever you are. If I cut me open and cut him open, red's going to come out. This is the color. Blood unifies us. And so the more real I can be and the more I can not allow it to get to me, the easier it is to do business. But I will give you one story here. I think this is a story that's relevant to say. I had a very big insurance company, a couple $100 billion, that once questioned doing business with me because they found that I'm half Armenian, half Assyrian. And the rumor came back to me saying they want to drop our contract because I'm Armenian. There was some things that happened with an Armenian insurance company, and they said this could happen with Patrick Bet-David as well. I called a meeting immediately, and I brought the main guy. I'm not going to say the name or the position because some people will know. I brought the main guys in a room. It was a boardroom, 20 people, very uncomfortable for everybody, and everybody knew I was going to bring this up. My wife did not want me to bring this up. We had a meeting. I sat him down. I said, let me start the meeting off by talking about the big elephant in the room. If you're going to judge me and do business with me based on me being an Armenian or me being from Iran, and you're judging me based on some other bad experiences you had from the past with another customer, I'm not going to have a relationship with you there. Let me tell you what it's like. It's as if I'm dating a girl and she keeps comparing me to her ex. I have no time for that. If you compare me to your ex one more time, we're done here today in business. I'm not your ex. Let me cheat on you first, then call me your ex. Till then, trust me. Trust me. Silence. 10 seconds. I'm always in them rolls in it. 10 seconds silence. And I'm looking at the person. And then all of a sudden they say, fair enough. I said, can we make sure this doesn't come up again? Yes. Awesome. Well, listen, let me tell you what I'm excited about. Then we went to our meeting. And by the way, that person ended up becoming a very close friend of mine. A very big advocate of what we do now. Well, because I addressed it up front. So I've had both of those stories. 99% of the time, it doesn't do nothing to me. The 1%, you got to bring it up every once in a while.
Charlie Hughes asks, what question should an entrepreneur ask himself every day?
Did I grow my business today? It's pretty simple. Did I improve and did I grow my business today? That's pretty simple.
Daniel Sema asks, how often do you get sued in business and what's the best way to deal with it?
Getting sued is predicated based on the industry you're part of. Real estate is big on lawsuits, pretty litigious industry. But some industries, they're not about lawsuits. It doesn't happen. But lawsuits are part of the game. I mean, you got to understand that it's not a big deal to get sued. I can sue Mario right now because I can tell him I don't like the way he looked at me. I'm offended. Mm-hmm. Mario can look at me right now and go and file a lawsuit against me because he said I got too close to him. He's offended. Lawsuits are nothing nowadays. What it does in the courtroom and how much weight it has, that's really what matters. It's like starting rumors. Anybody can start a rumor, but you have to validate the rumor. And so lawsuits are the same way. Depends on the industry. A lot of people are afraid of that. I wouldn't be too afraid. It's like saying, is there a possibility that I will get knocked out if I fight somebody? Yeah, it could happen. Is there a possibility of me getting into a car accident if I go on the freeway? Yes, but it's, it depends.
Andrew Lamer asks, when is it necessary or okay to turn down a client?
When is it necessary to turn down a client? I've turned down many clients. I had a client once before that wasted hundreds of hours of my life in 3 months. And one night I flew back from Cancun and he's outside of my house smoking cigarettes. I told my wife to go in. We just landed. I got the wife, kids. My wife's pregnant. I sat him down in my car, used language I probably shouldn't have used. And the only reason I used it is because I was done with that relationship. And I said, listen, I don't need you to do this ever again. I live in a gated community. You found yourself in here in a gated community. You're in front of my house smoking cigarettes, neighbors here. I got a wife and kids. Not only am I offended, I am extremely annoyed with you and upset with you right now. And all the money in the world is not as important as you doing this to me without being invited. I'm not okay with this. That was the last day of our relationship. 3 weeks later, the entire relationship was terminated. And, probably cost us a couple $100,000. But it's made us tens of millions of dollars of not wasted time invested with certain clients. Now, having said that, there are 20 clients that don't require that type of an issue. It just needs better communication from you and I. This is not the case. This is, so it's not you getting off and say, oh, that's what I'm going to do right now. No, no, no. Is it somebody that's lied to you, cheated, stolen from you? Then maybe that conversation is needed. If not, just better at communication dealing with those issues.
Last question from Hunter. What keeps you awake at night, and when did you consider yourself successful?
Just improving, getting better is what keeps me up at night. Getting better on what I can do to improve and increase the speed of growth. That's what's on my mind regularly. And when did you consider yourself a success? I don't know if I even think about that a lot. Like, I don't know if I sit there and think about, hey, I'm successful. Look at me. I don't have that mindset, because to me the vision is so big on what I want to do in my life. And I've written it out, what I want to do the first 20 years and the second 20 years and the third 20 years, what industries and what the message and what the cause is going to be. I'm pretty crystal. If the man upstairs wants to keep me around for that time, great. I'm going to do my best to be an incredible representative to the people around the world and a representative of his. But for me, success is a game, and the time you're really going to sit there and say I was successful when I'm on my deathbed, when my kids are doing good, they have healthy marriages, they've lived good lives, and I've done a good job contributing, and I'm ready to be done with my life, then I'm going to say, you've had a successful life. Till then, I mean, the moment you get your ego too big, you got to fall and you're nobody. And that happens like this. So I would much rather not put myself on a pedestal and just be ready for anything to happen. And then when my deathbed comes and people want to call me successful, they can. Till then, I got a lot of work to do. So, Mario, this was pretty good for first episode.
That's it.
You killed it, by the way.
Thank you so much.
That.
Yeah, I prepared for it.
Yeah. So, hey, a couple things for those of you guys that now you have some questions you want to ask. Initially, I said this is going to be on Twitter and Snapchat. We're not going to do Snapchat moving forward. Let me tell you why. I probably got 1,000 snaps, and so I can't catch up with all the snaps, and we want the team to publicly see all the comments and questions that you're posting. So if you have any questions that you're publicly comfortable to be on the show, the PBD Real Talk show, ask it on Twitter. My handle on Twitter is @PatrickBayDavid. Ask it on Twitter. But everybody that sent a message on Snap, I will get back to you. It may take me a week to get back to you, but I'll get back to all the people that asked the question based on me launching this video with the PBD Real Talk. So stay tuned for my respond back to you. And now let's announce who the winner was, because we're going to announce a winner. Let's see who the winner is going to be at. Salvatore, we got a I Am an Entrepreneur shirt that goes to the best question asked in every episode. And I think my favorite was the guy who asked the question about bootstrapping and venture capital, which is Michael McCarthy. Michael McCarthy, good question. You get the question of the week. Make sure you reach out to Mario. Mario, what's your handle? Put up your handle.
Aguilar Social.
Aguilar Social on Twitter. Paul, let's put his picture up. Paul loves Mario, so Paul, try to choose a good picture for Mario instead of some of the pictures that you would put up. You should see some of the words Paul called Mario before shooting the video, which we will only keep it private.
It's a love and hate relationship.
It is a love and hate relationship. So again, hey, Mike Carthy, great question. Everybody else, you got any questions, go on Twitter, #PBD Real Talk, post any question, preferably in video. You'll be featured in this episode. And if your questions are good questions, we will share them for the next episode that'll go out next Sunday of the PBD Real Talk. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.